Jace Turner had never imagined his life would be anything more than fixing wires, sealing broken pipes, and cleaning blocked vents on Helios 9, a huge research station that floated near the edge of the Melara Belt. Important people visited the station every week. Scientists, ambassadors, famous explorers. But Jace was not important. He worked quietly, stayed out of the way, and enjoyed his simple job. He liked walking through silent hallways early in the morning, before the rest of the station woke up. He liked solving problems others ignored. He liked the feeling of calm that came from tightening the last screw of a repair. He had no dreams of adventure, no interest in becoming a hero, and no reason to expect anything special to ever happen to him. He was just a maintenance guy. Nothing more. But on one unusual morning, everything changed. His wrist tablet buzzed loudly while he was drinking water and checking the day's repair schedule. When he tapped the screen, a red alert expanded across the display. Environment error, habitat, Wing D, priority species. Jace frowned. Habitat Wing D was a restricted zone, recently remodeled for a new alien delegation. The Yasari had arrived only 2 days earlier, and the station's staff had strict orders to keep their environment stable. The Yasari were sensitive to temperature, humidity, and light. Even small changes could upset them. He grabbed his toolkit and headed out. As he walked through the main corridor, he passed workers cleaning the floor, security officers speaking quietly, and visitors rushing to meetings. Everyone seemed busy with their own tasks. No one noticed him, and he preferred it that way. By the time he reached Wing D, the air had changed. It smelled faintly floral, soft and sweet, like the scent of warm gardens after rain. The lights were dimmed to a soft gold, and the walls hummed with energy from hidden systems the Yasari themselves had brought. His boots echoed lightly on the floor as he stepped in. The door scanned his ID, clicked open, and allowed him inside. The temperature hit him immediately. Warm. Much warmer than human comfort levels. He rubbed his forehead as beads of sweat already began forming. The malfunction was worse than he expected. If the environmental systems kept rising in temperature, the Yasari delegates might think it was disrespectful or unsafe. He didn't want diplomatic trouble on his hands. He opened his toolkit, crouched beside the wall panel, and began removing the screws. Behind the metal plate, wires pulsed with weak light. The cooling stabilizer was shaking slightly, trying to regulate itself, but failing. He leaned forward to adjust the connection. He didn't hear footsteps. He didn't hear breathing. He didn't hear anything until a soft voice whispered behind him. He turned sharply. A young alien girl stood a few steps away, looking at him as if seeing a strange creature for the first time. She was clearly Yasari. Her skin was a smooth blue silver, glowing faintly with soft markings that shifted color like calm waves. Her eyes were bright, violet, and strangely gentle. Her hair was dark, braided with metal-like threads that shimmered with each tiny movement. She looked curious, not afraid. Jay stood up quickly. Sorry. I didn't hear you. I'm here to fix the temperature system. I hope I didn't enter at a wrong time. She tilted her head slowly, studying him, as if trying to understand his words by reading his face. Then she stepped closer. Much closer than any stranger normally would. Jace took a half-step back out of surprise, but she followed with soft steps, keeping her eyes locked on his. She spoke again, her voice soft and flowing. He didn't understand the language, but the tone sounded friendly. She raised her hand and lightly tapped his chest. Warm, she said, her accent smooth and musical. Jace blinked. Yes, I guess I am. Humans are warm, especially in this heat. She smiled, and her glowing markings brightened slightly. She stepped even closer. So close he could see tiny sparkles in her eyes. She reached up, gently brushed her fingers along his jaw, and then touched his throat as if she was examining him. Jace froze. He didn't know if this was a cultural greeting, a normal Yasari habit, or if she was simply curious. Her expression didn't show danger. It showed fascination. "I'm just fixing your room," he said quietly. "I don't want to bother you." But she didn't step back. Instead, she leaned forward suddenly. Before Jace could react, her lips brushed against his neck, and she bit him not with pain, but with a soft pressure from small fangs. Jace gasped loudly and jumped back, holding his neck. His heart pounded wildly. What was that?" The girl looked very satisfied with herself. She said a single word he had seen earlier in a Yasari guidebook. "Claim." Jace's eyes widened. No. That's not what it looked like, right? That's not what you meant, right? But she repeated it again, smiling gently. "Claim." Jace felt lightheaded. He didn't know if he should run, laugh nervously, or faint. He couldn't even decide what to say. Suddenly, another door opened. A tall Yasari woman entered. Her markings glowed brighter and more detailed than the young girl's, and her presence felt strong and royal. She wore long robes that shimmered like liquid silver. She paused when she saw Jace, then her eyes slowly dropped to the bite mark on his neck. Her markings brightened sharply. Jace raised both hands defensively. I can explain. I didn't touch her. She came up to me, she bit me. I don't know your customs." The tall woman spoke to the girl in their language. The girl answered confidently and proudly. Then, she pointed at Jace and said the same word yet again. "Claim." The tall woman looked at Jace with softened eyes. Her tone changed instantly from stern to respectful. "Human," she said slowly, switching to translated speech. "You have been chosen." Jace shook his head so fast his vision blurred. No. I didn't agree to anything. I was just fixing a temperature problem." The older woman stepped closer and placed a hand over his heart. He almost stopped breathing. "She has chosen you," the mother said calmly. "And her choice is final." Jace stammered. "I didn't do anything to be chosen." "You did not resist," the mother replied. "You accepted her touch, her closeness, her bite. You allowed her to follow the ancient rite. I didn't even know there was a rite. I thought she was inspecting me like some strange insect." The young girl stepped closer again, gently taking his hand. Her fingers were warm and soft. She looked up at him with hopeful eyes, as if she expected him to understand everything, without any explanation. Jace swallowed hard. "Please, can I at least know what being chosen means?" The mother nodded slowly. "It means my daughter has selected you as her warm-blooded partner for her adulthood cycle. She has accepted you for bonding." Jace felt his knees weaken. "Partner? No, not possible. I fix machines. I don't know your culture. I don't know your rituals. I don't know anything about anything." The girl squeezed his hand gently, as if telling him there was nothing to fear. Her glowing markings shifted in calm patterns. Jace whispered, "This is a mistake. A big one." But the mother's voice held quiet certainty. "A Yasari chooses with emotion, instinct, and future vision. My daughter has seen something in you. She has marked you. The bond has begun." Jace tried to pull his hand away, but the girl held on firmly, not painfully, but with surprising strength for her size. She whispered something softly. Though he didn't understand the language, the sound carried warmth, comfort, and hope. "I don't even know your name," Jace whispered. She placed her free hand over his, pressed his palm against her heartbeat, and spoke her name softly. The sounds were gentle and musical, difficult to repeat for him, but beautiful. The mother nodded proudly. "She has given you her name, and she has already spoken yours." "What? I never told her my name." "She felt it," the mother said. Yasari who choose can sense the heart of the one they desire. Jace felt like the floor was tilting under him. A girl he met 5 minutes ago had bitten him, claimed him, held his hand like it belonged to her, and apparently sensed his name from his heartbeat. And now her mother was speaking calmly, like this was normal. He tried again to explain. "I'm not ready for this. I don't even know what bonding means." "You will learn," the mother said. "But first, we must inform the council. A human has been chosen. A contract must be written." Jace nearly dropped dead. "A contract?" The young girl leaned her forehead against his arm gently, as if trying to calm him. Her markings glowed soft and warm. The mother gave a serene smile. "You are hers now, and she is yours. This is the beginning." Jace Turner, a simple maintenance guy who only wanted to fix a temperature unit, stood frozen in a warm alien room, while a glowing girl who had bitten him held his hand with quiet devotion. And nothing in the universe made sense anymore. Jace Turner stood frozen while the young Yasari girl clung to his hand as if she feared he might disappear. Her mother, calm and dignified, spoke softly into a device on her wrist, likely informing the council she had mentioned. Jace felt the girl's warm fingers wrapped tightly around his, her glowing markings moving slowly like gentle waves on a quiet lake. His mind kept repeating the same words. This can't be happening. This can't be real. He had walked into the habitat to fix a temperature problem, and somehow walked into an alien bonding ritual instead. He wasn't brave. He wasn't important. He wasn't even confident about talking to humans, much less aliens. Yet here he was, practically adopted into a foreign tradition by a glowing girl who didn't speak his language. When the mother finished her call, she looked at him with a calm expression. "The council is preparing to receive you." Jace blinked. "Receive me? Why me? I'm not even part of any official group. I fix pipes." The mother nodded slowly. "You fix. You build. You maintain. You solve. These are noble qualities to the Yasari." "I didn't do anything noble," he protested. She raised an eyebrow. "You did not harm my daughter. You did not reject her. You did not push her away. Even now, you fear hurting her feelings." Jace opened his mouth to argue, but realized she was right. Even in his panic, he didn't want to be rude to the girl holding his hand. She hadn't meant harm. She looked at him with such softness that he didn't know how to refuse her without feeling like a terrible person. The girl tugged gently on his hand, pulling him toward the exit of the habitat. Jace stumbled slightly as she guided him with surprising certainty, almost like she was proud to show him off. He glanced back at her mother, who followed them with a steady, regal walk. Is this really required?" he asked timidly. "Yes," the mother answered. "Once the rite begins, the council must acknowledge it." Jace winced. "I didn't start any rite. You allowed it," she replied simply. He didn't know how to argue with that. Maybe he should have stopped her, stepped back, explained human customs, or asked for permission. But she had moved gently, curiously, warmly. He had been caught off guard. And now here he was, being guided down a long hallway by an alien girl who seemed sure he belonged to her. The hallway lights brightened as they walked. Workers passing by stopped and stared. Jace wanted to hide his face, but the girl walked proudly beside him, chest lifted, markings glowing with confidence. To her, this wasn't embarrassing at all. This was her presenting him to the world. A human technician whispered to another, Did he seriously bond with a Yasari? Isn't that a sacred thing?" Jace wanted to shout, "I didn't do it on purpose." But he didn't. He just kept walking, cheeks red. As they reached the main lifts, the mother tapped her wrist device again, and the doors opened automatically. The girl stepped in first, pulling Jace inside. Her fingers never loosened around his. She looked up at him, smiling softly, as if she sensed he was overwhelmed. He whispered under his breath, "I don't think I'm ready for this." Her eyes softened even more, almost comforting. The mother stepped in and the lift began to rise smoothly. Jace cleared his throat. Can you please tell me her name again?" "I heard it, but I can't pronounce it." The mother nodded. "Her name is Lysara." Jace tried it quietly. "Lys? Ara?" Lysara's eyes brightened. She repeated his name softly. "Jace," sounding like she liked how it felt. Jace's heart thumped once in an odd, unexpected way. Maybe it was surprise, maybe confusion, maybe something else he didn't want to admit. "What happens when we get to the council?" he asked. "They will recognize the bond," the mother said. "They will ask questions. They will confirm her choice. Then they will assign you the role you must take." Jace's face went pale. "Role? What role?" "Role. Partner," she answered calmly. He almost fainted. I can't, I don't even know her." "But she knows you," the mother said. Jace rubbed his forehead. "She bit me. How is that knowing me?" "In the Ysari way, it is," the mother explained. "The bite is a connection, not of pain, not of ownership, but of recognition." Jace muttered. "Well, I certainly recognized it." Lysara let out a soft, chime-like laugh, as if she understood his discomfort and found it adorable. She leaned slightly against his arm. Her warmth surprised him. The lift stopped. The doors opened into a grand chamber glowing with blue and gold lights. Ysari delegates stood in groups, their markings shifting like living art. The moment Jace stepped out, the entire room turned toward him. He froze. Completely. Lysara pulled him forward gently, proudly, with both hands now wrapped around his. The mother stepped ahead and announced something in the Ysari language. Her voice echoed through the chamber. Several delegates gasped softly. Others nodded with understanding. A few smiled warmly. Everyone looked at Jace like he was part of an important ceremony. He whispered, "This is too much. This is way too much." Lysara squeezed his hand reassuringly. She whispered his name again, softly, like she was reminding him he wasn't alone. A tall Ysari elder approached with slow steps. His markings were brighter than anyone else's. His gaze was serious, but not unfriendly. He spoke in translated speech. "Human Jace, you stand before the council because Lysara has chosen you." Jace swallowed. "Sir, with all respect, I didn't know she was choosing me." The elder nodded. "A chosen one rarely knows, but the one who chooses knows deeply." Lysara stepped forward and pressed her forehead lightly against Jace's arm again. The elder nodded with approval. "She is sincere," he said. "Her markings speak truth." Jace whispered, "I barely know her." "You will," the elder said, calmly. The mother stepped beside the elder. "My daughter has accepted him fully." The elder turned to Lysara. She spoke softly in her language, her tone steady and full of emotion. The elder's eyes softened. "She says," the elder translated, "that when she looked at you, she felt calm. She felt safe. She felt that your heart is warm in a way she cannot describe. She says she has never chosen before, but she chose you without thinking." Jace's throat tightened. He didn't expect those words. He didn't expect a glowing alien girl to describe him with that kind of pure honesty. The elder continued, "She wishes to bond with you. She wishes for you to be part of her cycle. She wishes to learn you, and she wishes you to learn her." Jace stared at Lysara, unsure what to say. She looked up at him with quiet hope, eyes wide and glowing softly. He whispered, "I'm just a maintenance worker." The mother replied, "That is what you do, not who you are." The elder nodded. "We judge hearts, not ranks." Jace looked down at Lysara again. She stepped closer and gently pressed her forehead to his chest, this time the place where she said he was warm. He felt her heartbeat against him, quiet, soft, calm, and suddenly, the world didn't feel as heavy. The elder spoke again. "Jace Turner, do you reject her?" Jace froze. He didn't mean to keep silent, but the words tangled inside him. He didn't want to hurt her. He didn't want to embarrass himself. And he didn't want to make a decision he didn't fully understand. But when he looked at Lysara's soft, hopeful smile, something inside him softened. I don't reject her," he whispered. The chamber filled with soft murmurs of approval. Lysara's markings flared with joy. She grabbed his hands and pressed them gently to her cheeks, closing her eyes in relief. She whispered his name again, almost like a thank you. The elder raised a hand. Then the bond is acknowledged. The initiation begins. Jace whispered. "Initiation? What initiation?" The mother stepped to his side. "You will be taught our customs. You will learn her ways. She will learn yours. You will understand each other. You will become partners not by force, but by growing trust." Jace took a deep breath. "And what do I have to do right now?" Lysara tugged lightly on his hand, guiding him toward a softer, quieter section of the chamber. The mother smiled. "Right now," she said gently, "you let her show you her world." Jace looked down at Lysara again. She looked excited, almost glowing with happiness. She lifted his hand to her chest one more time before guiding him forward. He followed her slowly. He didn't understand everything happening. He didn't know what tomorrow would look like. He didn't know what bonding truly meant. But he knew one thing clearly: Lysara didn't choose him out of force or tradition. She chose him because she felt something genuine, something gentle, something she couldn't explain. And for the first time since stepping into that overheated habitat room, Jace didn't feel scared. He felt seen. Lysara walked beside him, her fingers wrapped around his like she had no intention of ever letting go. And Jace Turner, simple maintenance man of Helios 9, took his first step into a world he never expected to be part of. Jace Turner followed Lysara through a long, curved hallway that shimmered with blue and gold light. Everything around him felt unreal. Only a few hours ago, he was fixing a broken temperature unit and thinking about what he would eat for dinner later. But now he walked beside an alien girl who held his hand as if she had known him her whole life. Her touch felt warm and steady. Her steps were soft, but sure. She guided him with quiet confidence, as if she believed he belonged there beside her. Jace kept glancing at her glowing markings. They moved slowly and calmly now, no longer flashing with excitement. He wondered if they changed, depending on her emotions. She looked peaceful, almost relieved, as if she had finally found something she had been searching for. The mother followed behind them with a graceful walk, keeping a respectful distance but always watching. Jace could feel her protective presence. She wasn't threatening him, but she was making sure her daughter felt safe. And it was strangely comforting. It reminded him of how families on Earth looked out for each other. Eventually, Lysara led him into a small chamber filled with soft cushions and floating lights. The air smelled sweet and warm. She gently pulled him down to sit beside her on a cushioned platform. Jace sat awkwardly at first, unsure what he was supposed to do, but she kept holding his hand as if she was afraid he might disappear. Her mother stood near the entrance and spoke softly. "This is a private learning chamber, a safe place. Lysara wishes to show you her memories." Jace frowned. "Her memories? How?" The mother raised a hand, and a small orb floated down from the ceiling. It glowed faintly and drifted between Jace and Lysara. "It will allow her to share thoughts without words." Jace hesitated. "Is this safe?" The mother nodded. "Completely safe. You will not be harmed. You will only understand." Lysara gently guided his hand toward the orb. When their fingers touched it at the same time, the light brightened, and a soft warmth flowed through Jace's hand. up his arm, and into his mind. Suddenly, he wasn't in the chamber anymore. He saw a field of shimmering plants under 2 purple suns. He saw young Yasari children running through the glowing grass, their markings flickering like fireflies. He saw a small version of Lysara, smiling, laughing, chasing glowing insects that floated like drifting stars. Then the memory shifted. He saw a huge city made of tall silver towers that curved like living shapes. Yasari flew small hover wings between buildings. Bright lights filled the sky. The city felt peaceful, full of brilliant colors and gentle sounds. Another memory appeared. Lysara stood alone on a high balcony, watching distant stars. Her markings glowed softly but sadly. Jace felt her emotion, loneliness. She felt different from others her age. She felt like something important was missing, but she didn't know what. Then he saw the arrival at Helios 9. The ship, docking. The mother speaking to station officials. Lysara walking behind her, looking around curiously. And then, he saw her first moment seeing him. Jace, crouched on the floor repairing the panel, sweat on his forehead from the heat. Lysara's heart jumped in her memory. Her markings brightened. She felt warmth just from seeing him. She didn't understand it at first, but she felt drawn to him like gravity pulling a star close. The moment she touched his chest played again. He felt her emotion, surprise, comfort, recognition. Something inside her felt complete when she touched him. Then, the moment of the bite. But in her memory, he felt her feelings during that moment. Not aggression, not possession, only excitement and certainty. She chose him instinctively, like her whole being knew something about him long before he could understand. When Jace pulled his hand away from the orb, he felt breathless. Lysara stared at him with gentle eyes, waiting for his reaction. Her markings glowed softly, calming, and hopeful. Jace whispered, You were lonely. Lonely. Lysara nodded slowly. And you felt something when you saw me? She nodded again and pressed his hand to her heart. Jace rubbed the back of his neck. I didn't know. I didn't understand anything. The mother smiled gently. Now you do. Jace exhaled slowly. But why me? I'm not special. I'm just a maintenance worker. The mother shook her head. You see yourself as small. But her heart sees something greater. Lysara lifted both her hands and pressed them to Jace's cheeks. Her touch was warm, and her eyes glowed with a soft emotion he couldn't name. She leaned her forehead against his, closing her eyes. Her markings brightened, slow, peaceful waves of color. Jace stayed still, surprised at how natural it felt. Her closeness didn't feel strange anymore. It felt gentle, safe, like she trusted him completely. After a moment, she pulled back and whispered something softly. Jace didn't understand the words, but the meaning felt clear. The mother translated. She says she wants to know everything about you. Your life, your thoughts, your memories. She wants to learn you the way you learned her. Jace swallowed. My memories? I don't have anything interesting to show. You have your heart, the mother said. That is enough. Lysara reached for the orb again and guided his hand toward it. Jace hesitated. His memories weren't as beautiful as hers. He didn't grow up in glowing fields or silver cities. But she looked at him with gentle trust. So he touched the orb. Warmth flowed again. Suddenly they stood in a small earth bedroom. Posters on the wall. Tools scattered on a desk. A younger version of Jace sat on the bed, fixing a broken device with a screwdriver. He looked focused, but alone. The memory felt heavy with quiet days spent repairing things no one cared about. Lysara saw it all. She tilted her head in sadness. Another memory appeared. Jace, as a teenager, working long hours in a repair shop. Grease on his hands. No friends visiting. People walking past him without noticing. Another memory. arriving on Helios 9 alone, carrying a bag, watching other workers greet each other while he kept his eyes down. Lysara's markings dimmed slightly with sadness. She touched the younger Jace in the memory, trying to comfort him even though it wasn't real. Then another memory played. Jace fixing a water leak on Helios 9. Alone again, but humming softly to himself. He looked more at peace now. He enjoyed solving problems. He enjoyed bringing order to messy things. Then the moment he first saw Lysara. From his perspective, she was glowing, curious, beautiful, and strange. His memory showed his surprise, his nervousness, his confusion. Lysara watched her own memory reflected through his eyes, and her markings brightened shyly. When Jace pulled away from the orb, he felt strangely exposed, as if he had shown her a part of himself he never shared with anyone. Lysara reached out and touched his face again, her expression soft with understanding. She wasn't judging his simple life. She wasn't disappointed. She looked grateful to know him. Jace looked into her violet eyes. "You don't mind that I'm not special?" She shook her head and wrapped her arms gently around one of his, hugging it lightly. Her markings glowed warmly. The mother spoke softly. "She does not want someone grand or famous. She wants someone warm, someone true, someone who saw her not as a symbol, but as a person." Jace suddenly felt something change inside him. Something small, but important. He didn't feel scared anymore. He didn't feel confused. He felt chosen. Yes, but in a way that didn't trap him. In a way that made him feel seen for the first time in his life. Lysara slowly lifted his hand and placed it over her heart again. The steady rhythm pulsed against his palm. She whispered something softly. The mother smiled. "She says your heartbeat makes her calm." Jace felt his cheeks warm. "I didn't know I could do that." "You can," the mother said. "You already did." Lysara reached into a small pouch on her belt and took out a thin silver band with glowing markings. She placed it in Jace's hand and closed his fingers around it. Jace blinked. "What is this?" "A connection band," the mother said. "A sign that you accept the learning bond. Not a marriage. Not a permanent vow. Just agreement to learn each other." Jace stared at the band. It was light, warm, almost alive. "And, what if I say, yes?" "Then you walk forward together," the mother said. "You learn her world. She learns yours. You choose your future with understanding, not confusion." Jace looked at Lysara. She didn't pressure him. She didn't demand anything. She simply waited. Eyes soft. Markings glowing slowly, like hopeful breaths. He slowly slid the band onto his wrist. Lysara gasped softly in happiness. Her markings burst into bright patterns. She threw her arms gently around him in a warm embrace, resting her forehead on his shoulder. Jace hugged her back hesitantly, then more firmly. He whispered, "I don't know what happens next, but I'll learn." Lysara whispered his name again, full of warmth. The mother nodded with pride. Then the bond truly begins. For the first time since the chaotic morning, Jace didn't feel like a maintenance worker lost in an alien ritual. He felt like someone who finally mattered to someone. And Lysara, glowing softly and clinging to him with gentle happiness, clearly felt the same.